our March Madness special of Sports Highlights. Greg Bicouvaris, glad you're with us, our entire crew. Our program airs on Mondays at 7 a.m., 2 p.m., 7 p.m., weekends at 9 a.m. on Cox Cable 47 517 and all over social media. Before we start our show, folks, our longtime executive producer, Paul Cummings, recently lost his wife, Nancy. May her memory be eternal. Our guests today are Nick Tugwell and Shane Harrison. Let's start off with Nick Tugwell, who went to Warwick High School. He's the head baseball coach at Denbigh High School. Good to see you.
Thanks for having me, Greg.
My pleasure. Talk about your baseball background.
Grew up in Newport News. Played baseball at Deer Park Little League from the time I was 10 till I was 16. Didn't play in high school, but I graduated from Warwick High School in 1997 and got out in the working world.
Deer Park's got their own little baseball field. A lot of people don't know, but it's in the back, in the corner. And of course, there's one front and center that you can see on Jefferson Avenue. Talk about those two fields.
Absolutely. They actually have 7 fields in the back of Deer Park. Mon Falcon being in the back, being the 60-90 size field. Dot Rich Field is our majors for the 10, 11, 12-year-olds. And then on the front side of Jefferson, we have the 4 T-ball minors and the other minors field that you see off of Jefferson you were talking about.
Well, very good. Well, this is year 3, 2025 for you as a varsity coach. Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
So talk about how the first 2 years were for you with the Patriots.
Year 1 was pretty rough. Took over a program that was 0-91, I believe, in 5 seasons. When I started, we had about 13 kids on varsity, no JV. Participation was really low. We really fought our way through season 1 to stay healthy, try to garner some interest in some of the things we were doing through the season, but when you don't win, it doesn't get a lot of recognition. So year 2, we were able to get some more participation in the sport. We were able to revive the JV program for 10 games. The varsity program really, though, turned around. We ended up going 7-14, made the playoffs as a 6th seed, I believe, and ended up losing to Churchland 7-2 in the Region 4A first-round playoff game.
So really it's about numbers, and of course you know it firsthand too, because when you were at Warwick, that's when Woodside pretty much started in that fall of '96, and that took away a lot of the Denbigh players.
Yeah, it did, actually, and we see it a lot now. I never realized how close Denbigh, Minchville, and Woodside really are to each other. A mile and a half up Lucas Creek and a few miles up Jefferson, you have Minchville and Woodside. And with the landscape of the way high schools are today with academies and different programs, you can attend almost any high school you want to. So it's really about trying to build the program at Denbigh to make it to where kids want to come play at Denbigh as opposed to going to Minchville or Woodside. Right,
because when we were in school, it was part of the Big Four: Ferguson, Minchville, Warwick, Denbigh, and I really think it's great that you are coaching Denbigh and trying to bring that tradition back. And they've had a great seasons, especially back in the 80s. It won Serrano, Edgar Wacino. Coach Boyer was a coach at Denbigh's baseball team. He was also involved in Post 368. Denbigh had a lot of tradition, especially in the 80s.
Absolutely, and when I was coming up, actually Rusty Ingram was there, and a lot of the kids that played at Deer Park ended up at Denbigh playing under Coach Ingram, a lot of my close friends, and great tradition there. There's always been a lot of players at Denbigh to go on and play at the next level. Just back in 2017, John Garcia was drafted out of Denbigh to the Cubs, I believe, and he chose the Air Force, I think. But there's been a lot of great coaches coming in and out of there in the last, I'd say, 24 years, because there's been a lot of turnover since Coach Ingram left. Every few years there's a different coach, but Coach Ingram left a legacy that a lot of people like myself are trying to follow and trying to get back to. And luckily for me, I got the chance to work under Coach Ingram when I was at the York JV for 2 years. He was Brett Moore's assistant over there. So I got to pick his ear a little bit.
Yeah, he had a legacy at York and Denbigh both, so a lot of those great coaches, kind of like Bob Schmidt did when he coached Denbigh's football team and also York's football team. So great lineage there. What are you going to be working on this year? March is a great month because that's when baseball season starts. You started practice in February already. So it's going to be a great month. Are you going to be focusing on your pitchers, or right now every position is wide open?
We're really focused on all of it right now, getting started, everyone started, ramped up. Still participation. We're still trying to garner interest in the sport, not just in the school, but in the community of Denbigh. We're trying to build that whole baseball community in Denbigh back up, so it will ultimately help Denbigh High School. And so we're still working on the small things, the small consistent steps to lead us to the bigger goals and bigger results.
Do you have to pull more of your JV players or the 9th and 10th graders, Nick, playing varsity just because of numbers? And like you said, the first year you had a lot of trouble getting numbers, but now you're more established. But still, it's a matter of getting people out there dedicated in practice and also game time as well.
We do. We had a young team last year. I had a shortstop, was a freshman. He hit .303, Benji Clark. Young, but very talented. We actually had a couple young guys last year starting, sophomore Luis Galles Rodriguez in left field. But this year we're pretty old. We have 7 seniors, 6 seniors, 1 junior, and 2 sophomores that'll be our starting 9 this year.
Right. Do you like to have that left-handed pitcher?
We do. I have a left-handed pitcher. Russell Clark's just committed to Regent University in their new baseball program. That's Benji's older brother, and there's 4 of those Clark boys, so we're interested in that.
There's so many more opportunities now. Our next guest is Shane Harrison. He's the head baseball coach at Virginia Peninsula Community College, and it gives these kids an opportunity to continue playing baseball.
There are a lot of programs in the area at the next level for these kids to just stay in the area and play. As we all know, the 757 is pretty dominant in producing athletes in all sports, but baseball alone, you have VPCC as a junior college. You have the apprentice school as an NAIA, which is year after year has been in the World Series and the top of their prospective leagues and stuff. And you have a lot of D3 schools, you have a lot of D1 schools in the area that a lot of kids just don't even understand that are here.
Right. You were also a telecom student, so this the same building. And you even asked me what building it is, and the other building is the City Channel, but this is the same building that you were in when you were a student.
Absolutely. Class of 97. This was actually a 2-year program, but I signed up as a senior. It was my first class, 2 hours of the day, probably my most enjoyable. So, yeah, this is familiar territory here. It's been a few years though since I've been back in the studio here.
Very nice. We're talking to Nick Tugwell. He's the head baseball coach at Denbigh High School in his 3rd year, trying to bring that tradition back that Coach Ingram did and Coach Boyer. I'm really proud of you too, Nick, for doing that as well, because it really does take a full-time dedication. You're a very proactive person, and of course you're going to expect a lot from your players.
I do expect a lot from them, and we work a lot in the off season, of course, with the new VHSL conditioning rules in 2018. Practice and off-season conditioning is now basically year-round. But I have 6 athletes on the team that play 3 sports:
Wow.
a fall sport, a winter sport, and a spring sport. So we manage workload by how much they're doing at their other sports. If swimming is only 4 days a week, we like to fill the other 2 days of the week up, Friday and Saturday, with a little baseball.
Sure. Do you kind of sense it when your pitcher is starting to get tired? Who makes that call to put a relief in?
Myself and the pitching coach.
Yeah.
We keep an eye on his movements, not just his velocity, but his body movements and things that we can pick up on that's not normal for him, the way he pitches. And once we see some things and we start adding things up, we tend to move on really quick. We've had trouble in the last 2 seasons though with pitching because our numbers have been low. We returned 6 pitchers this year that through 10 innings or more last year. Of course, my lefty, Russell Clark, but my righty ace, Hayden Radican, is also committed to Regent University. And we have several guys that will get on the mound this year and throw it.
Of course, you have Gloucester in the district still, but next year they'll be moving back to the Bay Rivers. Back when I was in school, they were in the York River. Then they went to the Peninsula District, and now they're going to be leaving. But Gloucester's been a good partner for the Peninsula, but scheduling is always a big deal.
Yeah, Gloucester's going to move on. We hate to see them go because they've been competitive, and if you want to be better, you have to play better teams. And so we'll lose a competitive team in the Peninsula District with Gloucester leaving. But we also see an opportunity this year to maybe have an opportunity to beat them for the first time in several years. So we're kind of looking forward to that.
Classic Denbigh uniforms, Nick, conservative, kind of like the Detroit Tigers back in the day. What can we expect? The home uniforms. What about the road uniforms?
Well, when I took over 2 years ago, we ordered new uniforms. We have classic white home uniforms with cursive Patriots, and we use the classic Detroit Denbigh D, we call it. We try to carry that legacy on.
Yeah.
Coach Ingram asked me a year ago when he saw me at Gus's Pizza, still carrying on the tradition, I see. And I said, yes, sir. I said, as long as I'm there, we'll try to carry that tradition.
Yeah,
on.
blue and white was so iconic. What advice would you give to a young person that wants to play baseball in general, whether it's Little League or Pony League or so forth?
Find a team and a program that fits you and what you're looking for in baseball. A lot of kids at a young age want to be a professional at 10 years old, and they lose the fun in the game. Have fun at a young age. Learn the fundamentals, but have fun with it. Because when you lose the fun, you lose the drive to go do it.
But you have to deal with a lot of parents too, right? Sometimes.
I do.
Yeah.
I do. And
you handle it well.
And they have to deal with me.
Right,
so
right.
We call it a fair trade. But the parents and the support for the last 3 years have been great.
Right.
And we're getting more and more of that. This last season, we had 7 meals donated by local businesses for us to have a pregame meal, something that hadn't happened at Denbigh Baseball or Denbigh Athletics in a while. And we kind of set that standard last year for the rest of the Denbigh programs. Like, if you want these kids to do, high athletic things, high octane, we need to feed them before game. And
yeah, you're revitalizing the program. Last question: will we see Legion baseball come back ever?
It's making a comeback now. There is a transition right now that some of the other coaches will also speak on, that see that travel ball is becoming more of a moneymaker, less of what it was first intended to do. And now Legion is making a comeback. We actually tried to put Post 368 back together last year. We held a tryout. We filled all our paperwork out. Well, we just didn't have the facility for it. Legion now is requiring some weeknight games start at 7:30. We don't really have a 60-90 field in the Denbigh community that has lights. Newport News took our light poles down, the old wooden poles down a year ago, and I think we're getting some new ones. But Legion is making a comeback. On the south side, I think Post 241, Larry Bowles and those guys over at Indian River, I think he had 5 teams. And, he does his own little league and has people come in and play and travel. And they're playing on Sundays now too, doubleheaders on Sundays. So it kind of put us in a position, out of 25 kids that I had for tryouts, 18 of them said they wouldn't give up travel ball on Sundays for Legion.
Gotcha. All right, my friend, all the best to you. Nick Tugwell, head baseball coach of Denbigh High School, year 3. All the best in 25.
Thank you, Greg.
Very
Appreciate
good.
it.
Stay tuned for our next guest on our March edition of Sports Highlights.
Hi, I'm Ethan Flinkenbeard, and I'm a student in the NNPS Telecommunications program. Enrolling in telecom has helped me expand my knowledge and skills in filming and broadcasting. I've learned skills such as camera operation, editing, directing, Take 1, studio operation, and live remote production. I'm also a paid intern, working various sporting events, school board meetings, conferences, and talk shows. And I'm so thankful for the opportunities that telecom has provided me with to help me get my career off the ground.
And welcome back to the Virginia High School 1600 meter state championship. As we get back to the action, we see Miles Monpoint is gaining on Antonio Boyd for the first place finish. Oh! Miles Monpoint just tripped Antonio Boyd.
But Trayvon is helping him up right now.
Trayvon is helping him up as Trayvon just sacrificed his third place finish to help out Antonio Boyd.
Yeah, that right there is kindness and excellent sportsmanship right there by Trayvon.
And welcome to our second segment of our March show. Greg Bicouvaris, glad you're with us, our entire crew. Hope you enjoyed our first guest, Nick Tugwell. Sports Highlights, of course, is our interview show since February of 1992. Our next guest went to Poquoson High School. His name is Shane Harrison. He's the head baseball coach at VPCC. Good to see you.
Thanks for having me.
My pleasure. My pleasure. Talk about your baseball background.
So, grew up in Poquoson, played Poquoson High School, Little League all the way through high school. After high school, had some opportunities, but some arm issues. But here and there, played around with some college baseball, but never really panned out to the best of my ability, just due to some arm injuries. But just stayed in coaching.
Very nice, very nice. One of our friends from the family, Miss Macris, used to teach at Poquoson High School for years.
Okay.
But talk about that legendary baseball field. And Nick was talking about Coach Ingram. You played against him when he was at York, correct?
Yes, yeah, he was 91 if I remember correctly. But yeah, the mosquito heaven out there for sure. But yeah, Poquoson's a great area to grow up in. I mean, have had the major leaguers come out of Poquoson here lately, along with a lot of guys that have left Poquoson and went and played D1 at level, junior college level, Division II, III level, and then even some coaches coaching at college levels now. So,
And you get a chance to recruit everywhere, correct? And of course, you work full time, so this is kind of like your part-time gig, your side hustle.
Right.
But it's a lot of games involved.
yes, it is. The college schedule is grueling. It's usually a series game is a 9 and a 7, and then another 9-inning game on a Saturday and Sunday. Throw a couple midweeks in there, and before you know it, you got 52 games scheduled like that.
And you have to stop what you're doing in your full-time job to get to practice. And talk about where you practice at and where you play at.
So yeah, we usually practice, try to practice every day. We have an indoor facility that I'm in with Wayne Gomes over on LaSalle Avenue. So we're able to use that for Virginia Peninsula Community College, and the little field that's out back, we get to practice out there. And then this year we have been able to get all of our home games at the War Memorial Stadium. Last year we had a few, but this year the way the scheduling worked out with Matt Mitchell over at the Pilots general manager, all the cards fell in the right spot, so we were able to get all of our home games out there this year.
Talk about some of the teams you'll be playing against.
So our conference is a loaded conference. Camp Community College right there in Franklin, been to the JUCO World Series the last 2 years in a row. That's our closest one. From there we go Surrey, which is Mount Airy's, North Carolina, a good 5-6 hour bus ride, just like Caldwell Tech in Lenoir, North Carolina, and also Rockingham Community College. They're about a 5 hour, so we get a little break there. But yeah, a lot of bus drives, a lot of hotel rooms during the season.
Yeah, a lot of times on the road, as we're talking to Shane Harrison, who went to Poquoson High School as the head baseball coach at VPCC. What's it like working with your AD, Chris Moore?
Oh, he's good. He's a great guy. When I first met him, he said, he understands athletics, but he don't understand baseball. But hey, that's fine because I don't understand basketball. But we get along great, and he's all about the kids, and trying to make a better better situation for them here at the college, get their 2 years in, and move them on to somewhere else.
How nice is it to start a program from ground floor the last couple of years?
Yeah, well, the program's been around a little while, but you know, it had some ups and downs for sure. But yeah, when I came in 2.5 years ago, we actually had the first 20-win season ever in the school history, and kind of just kept building off that. You know, we love to win ball games. Don't get me wrong. But we'd love to move these guys on to the next level. You know, after 2 years, we've had 23 guys go on to play at the next level of college baseball. We did have our first D1 guy a year and a half, or almost 2 years ago.
Very nice. And of course, we're talking to Shane Harrison. Fundamentals of baseball, I guess you're looking for a two entirely different type of roster because it changes every year.
Yeah, so that's the thing about being at the junior college. You know, it's nonstop recruiting, and I love recruiting. You know, you get them here for 2 years. Sometimes this year I've got guys here for just 1 year.
Yeah.
That might have transferred from somewhere else, and just you get them 1 year. You know, it's not like at the high school level or the 4-year college level where you get them for 4 years. So yeah, recruiting is a nonstop job.
Yeah, and what do you see that need to be working on the most for the spring? Is it hitting? Is it pitching? Because you always need relief pitchers as well. And talk about, is it 7 or 9 innings?
Yeah, so most of our doubleheaders are 7 innings. When we go to conference, we'll play a 9, a 7, and then come back on Sunday and play a 9. Mm-hmm. But yeah, you know, staying healthy is the biggest thing. You know, luckily, I did very well with the recruiting this year and ended up bringing in 37 guys. Have about 17 POs, pitcher onlys, with about 4 other guys that can two-way. But it was a lot of work to get those numbers up and to try to get them to convince them to take the JUCO route. And we've got guys from all over the United States, Florida, Las Vegas, Georgia, Alabama, North Carolina. We've brought in a lot of really good ball players.
It gives them a lifeline to extend their baseball career.
It does. It really does. You know, with the way the portal is right now, and the giving a year back of eligibility at the NCAA level if you played NJCAA, it's tough out there. You know, and the NJCAA, the JUCO level, as some of us call it. You know, some of these 4-year schools are looking at us almost like a JV program. Like, I'd rather take that JUCO kid because he's did 2 years in the classroom. I know he can do it, and I know he can do the grind of 2 years of baseball.
Yeah, because it really does take a village. It does. Every position is important. Talk about your coaching staff.
So yeah, I have a great coaching staff. First, Coach Nick Mastrogiannakis, also from Poquoson. We started coaching. We had a little 8-year-old team together, so we've been coaching together for a long time. Coached Poquoson All-Stars with our sons together, so we've been coaching for a long time. He does a lot of work, helps me out with a lot of the clerical part of baseball. At the college level, you have a lot of that. Then I have Gage Reddick, played at Eastern Mennonite University, 4 years there. And he also coaches with the Pilots and coaches with us. And then I have a young man that's actually volunteering. He's also in the Navy, Andres Pardo. Played baseball out in the Midwest, so he helps us too.
Do you still keep an eye on the Poquoson team? And of course, do you talk to the coach much during the season?
Yeah, and well, there was a new coach. Coach Kenny Bennett retired, you know, and kind of moved away. So there's a new guy in there. He went to Tab back when I was at Poquoson.
Great rivalry.
Yeah, great rivalry. So yeah, and my daughter and his daughter played volleyball together. So yeah. But yeah, I keep in touch with the Poquoson and just all the schools around here.
Yeah, but people always talk about York and Poquoson, but Poquoson and Tab were closer.
Yeah,
and that was a good rivalry.
That was the rivalry when and when I was in school was the Poquoson Tab rivalry.
Very nice, very nice. As far as your goals we always have goals. What are your goals for 25?
Stay healthy. Stay healthy. Get these guys through a great season. Get them graduated, and get them the heck out of here. That's our goals. We hate to say it, like get the heck out of here, but when we move them out of here to a 4-year school, then I feel like we did our job.
Absolutely, and it really does. It takes a village, it takes a staff, it takes the athletic director, it takes the players, it takes their parents. It's an all-inclusive deal. You can't do it by yourself.
No. There's not enough hours in the day. As it is now. My full-time job, I'm going hard as I can to get at practice. The assistants are running practice for me till I can get there, and just a good group of guys around me.
Exactly. What advice would you give to somebody that wants to play baseball in general?
In general, have fun. Find something that I've told people in the past, I said, find your why in the sport. Why do I want to play? Why do I want to do this? Why do I want to coach? So find your why. If your why is I just want to have fun with my friends in the local Little League, then do it. If your why is I want to go play college, then get a little serious about it.
Right, and they all have to have that desire.
Yeah.
If you don't have the desire, you're not going to last long.
That's right. Yeah, it takes it down in your heart. You gotta love this game, and most of the guys that are in it right now just love it. We've got a lot of great coaches around here at this area, and we're blessed. We're blessed.
Very good. That was Shane Harrison right there. Want to thank our guest for our March 2025 show, Nick Tugwell, who was a telecom student and also now the head baseball coach at Denbigh High School, Shane Harrison, who went to Pocosin High School, and of course he's the head baseball coach at Virginia Peninsula Community College. Again, congratulations also too in general for this first quarter. Ohio State winning the national championship in college football, beating Notre Dame. That's quite a redemption. That was an interesting story in which the Notre Dame head coach played for Ohio State. So that was very fun to watch as well. Spring is baseball. Go out and support these kids at the high school, college, and junior college level, like Virginia Peninsula Community College. And also want to thank Chris Moore for helping us with the guests, too. This wonderful crew here at Telecom. We look forward to our next taping. We have a lot of fun here in the studio. So for Ray Price and his great crew, I'm Greg Bicouvaris. Happy March. Thanks for watching on TV and online, and we'll talk to you soon.